The arbitrage strategy for membership groups. What is it and how can you use it to grow your business? That's what we're talking about in this video. With most of the other strategies we talk about, we're talking about ways to grow the business in terms of its sales or growing its team. But there's another more important side to growing a business, and that is how to grow shareholder value. Now, I've talked in a few of my other videos about Richard Branson and Virgin, but to demonstrate my point with this strategy, I want to share a story about Virgin. So back in 1992, he sold Virgin Records for 500 million. But since selling that business, it's been reported as saying, up until that point, the Virgin Group was always on the verge of bankruptcy. He only became wealthy when he sold that business. Now, I'm not talking about you selling your business, but I am talking about how to increase the value of your shares. Because if you're going to grow your business, then each strategy you use should be measured on its success according to how much value it added to the business. This is the key metric that you should use to measure its success. So how do you grow share value? To answer this, we have to look at two areas. The normal way of valuing your shares is based on a multiple. In most businesses, that will be a multiple of profit. But in some businesses, like software or property investment, it might be a multiple of revenue. Now, the bigger the business is, the bigger the multiple is too. And this goes up in bands. So without thinking about the actual multiple for your type of business, let's say the business has less than 1 million in revenue. So the multiple might only be 1 times profit for that. In other words, if your business has 100,000 in profit, then the value would be 100,000. The next band will be between 1 and 2 million. And the multiple might be 2 times profit for that band. The third band would be between 2 and 5 million, and that might have a 3 times multiple. Next, between 5 and 10 million, and this band would have a 4 times multiple, and so on as the business gets bigger. Now, the other factor with the value of shares is about how easy it is to sell them. The easier it is to sell a share in a business, the more valuable it will be, because you can remove any risk from owning it. So to increase the ease of selling the shares, you have to have a market of buyers, and it has to be easy to buy and sell those shares. If you think of a small business, it's very difficult to sell your shares, and sometimes you might not want to sell all of your shares. You might only want to sell 10% just to give you some extra cash. But that's very hard to do in your average small business because there just isn't that marketplace there to do that. So looking at this from the opposite end of the scale, let's take a publicly traded company on the London Stock Exchange. Well, those shares might be valued at a 30 or 40 times multiple compared with a small business on a 3 times multiple. And apart from scale, it's also about how easy the shares are to buy and sell. And if I buy shares in a public company like BT or Vodafone, I can sell them again 10 minutes later if I need to. Whereas if I buy shares in a small local business, there's a strong chance I'll never get my money back because I'll need to find a buyer. So if you know these two variables, what influence the value of your shares, how can you use this information to get what you want? Well, let's say you've got your business and your friend also has a similar business, the same size, the same revenue, same profit levels. Well, if you put these businesses together, that would mean you've jumped into the next band multiple. You might have jumped from the 3 times multiple into the 4 or 5 times multiple without actually doing anything. Both businesses are exactly the same. All that you've done is package them up as a larger entity. And rather than valuing the businesses individually, it's now this larger entity that's being valued. Likewise, let's say you've got 5 or 6 companies of similar size and put all of these into this package structure. This could mean going from a 3 times multiple up to a 10 times multiple. That means trebling the value of your shares without changing anything inside of any of those businesses. And these companies don't need to be sharing staff or merged into the same office. They just continue operating as independent businesses within this envelope structure that you've created. Now, if you then take this package structure and list it on the stock market as a public company, the multiple jumps again. In this case, it would jump from a 5 times multiple up to an 8 or 10 times multiple. It sounds crazy and almost too good to be true, but it's how you can manipulate the system to drastically change the value of the company. But the benefit of having public shares is you can sell off small chunks to get extra cash when you need it, or you can borrow very cheaply against those shares to buy yourself a yacht or a new Ferrari if you want. And that's what makes the shares so much more valuable. I'm not saying this would be best for your situation, but what I'm trying to show you is that these are the variables to increase the value of the shares. So by making you aware, you can use them yourself to get what you want. We do have a product that works with business owners on this strategy, which we've done other videos on. So if you are interested in this type of model, then check out those other videos. Or if you've got a couple of companies that you could use this strategy in, then message me and we can talk about how to put it together. And if it's got more than $500,000 profit combined, we can also talk about the process of making it a public company. But that's how you use the arbitrage strategy to create a membership group.